Student of class 9, welcome back to Division Physics classes. Today we start with our next chapter, Force and Laws of Motion. This chapter, Force and Laws of Motion, falls under dynamics of the physics. So what do you mean by dynamics? This is the branch of physics which deals with the cause of motion of an object. Regarding the force and motion, different scientists gives the different explanation. Firstly, the Aristotle gives an explanation regarding the force and motion. According to Aristotle, a force is required to keep a body in motion, otherwise it would come to rest. Means whenever an object is in motion, if no force is acting on the object, then the object comes to the rest position. Next, Galileo opposed what Aristotle had observed. Galileo gives another explanation of force and motion. What explanation? Galileo said that a body in motion will continue to move with uniform speed in a straight line provided no external force act on it. So according to the Galileo, whenever a body is in motion over a straight line, then if no external force acting on the object, then the object continue its motion along the same straight line with uniform speed. Means the acceleration of the object is 0. To prove his statement, Galileo do an experiment. For the experiment, Galileo takes three surfaces. See the diagram very carefully. PQ and RS are two highly smooth plane surfaces and QR is a smooth horizontal surfaces. In the first case, Galileo gives same inclination of the two plane surfaces PQ and RS over the horizontal surface QR. And Galileo observed that whenever a marble falls from certain height of one inclined plane, the marble will reach to the same height on the other inclined plane. Secondly, whenever the inclination of RS is decreased, then Galileo observed that the marble which comes from the plane PQ reach to the same height on the plane RS, but here the object cover more distance. In third situation, whenever the inclination of RS reduced to 0, then Galileo observed that whenever marble reach from certain height from the plane PQ, it will continue to move over this horizontal surface. From these three observations, finally Galileo said that in absence of friction, the marble would continue to move with uniform velocity forever. Means it will remain unaccelerated. So means whenever a body is in motion over the surface of another body, if there will be no force of friction among the two surfaces of the body, then the body continue its motion without accelerations. Okay, so now this force which we discussed here can do some work. Okay, so you have to know now the effect of force. Firstly, force can cause motion. Means we can bring a rest object to a motion, or we can give the motion to a rest object by applying an external force. For example, a football when kicked towards the goalpost. Number 2, the leaves of the tree falls due to the force of wind. Next, force can stop motion. So means by applying a force, we can stop a moving object. For example, a moving ball can be stopped by the force of our hand. A rotating top can be stopped by hands. Next, force can change the direction of motion. Means during the motion, by applying the force, we can change the direction of motion. For example, when a cricket ball hit by a bat, the direction of ball changes. A cyclist turn handle of bicycle to take a turn. Next, force can change the speed of moving object. Means by applying the external force, we can increase the speed of a moving object as well as we can decrease the speed of a moving object. For example, push makes a swing moves faster. Another example, when more force is applied on the pedals of bicycle, the bicycle moves faster. Next, force can change shape and size of an object. Okay, by applying the external force, we can change the shape and size. For example, whenever we applying a stretching force on rubber band, the length of the rubber band increases. Another example, whenever we applying a compressing force on an inflated balloon, the shape of the balloon changes. Okay, so therefore, from this various effect of force, we can define the force as force is a push or pull acting on an object which tends to change the state of rest or uniform motion or the direction of motion or the shape and size of the object. Okay. Now, regarding the force, we have to know about balanced force and unbalanced force. What do you mean by balanced force? Now see the diagram very carefully. This is an object. On that object, the forces F1 and F2 are acting such a way that they are acting along the same straight line but in opposite direction. Similarly, the force F3 and F4 are acting on the object such a way that they are acting along the same line but in opposite direction. Therefore, the force F1 and F2 are cancelled each other and the force F3 and F4 are cancelled each other. Means under the action of this four force, there will be no change in the state of rest or state of motion of the object. Therefore, the set of these four forces is said to be balanced force. And here one important thing you have to remember, whenever a balanced force acting on the object, then the acceleration of the object is 0. Next we know about the unbalanced force. This is an object. Here two forces are acting, F1 and F2, such a way that they are acting along the same line but in opposite direction, and also F1 is greater than F2. As F1 is greater than F2, the object start to move along the direction of F1. So therefore, the set of force under which the state of rest or state of motion of an object is changes, then the set of forces are said to be unbalanced force. During the unbalanced force, there will be an acceleration of the object, means acceleration of the object is not 0. Next we have to know about the force of friction, which we mentioned actually during the explanation of Galileo's observations. So what do you mean by friction? Whenever one object tries to move or actually move over the surface of another object, then along the contact surface of the two objects in a direction opposite to the direction of motion, a force comes into play which is known as the force of friction. Therefore, force of friction will retard the motion of object. Now see the diagram. This is a block which is situated over an horizontal surface. If you apply an external force F like this, then the force of friction are acting between the surface and the object in a direction opposite to the direction of applied force along the contact surface. So as F is our applied force, so therefore this is our force of frictions. Student, read this portion very carefully. In next class we start with the Newton laws of motion. Thank you.